Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Made Her Repay the Dress. Am I the a-hole for ruining my kid's life after she ruined a dress? X, 31, and I, male 32, had C, female 16, way too young. We're friendly co-parents, and one big rule we share is if our daughter breaks something, she pays for it. Now, sister, 27, and I are the only grandkids. My aunt never married. Instead, she worked with grandma and grandpa at their seamstress store and took it over when they retired. My sister's girlfriend, 29, proposed last year. Grandpa offered to make future sister-in-law a custom suit, which she was over the moon about. And grandma had me ask my sister what her dream dress was and record the conversation. Sister, thinking it was just between us, told me in great detail what her dream dress was, though said it was way too expensive, so she would get something much cheaper. Well, a few months later, Grandma surprised my sister with her dream wedding dress. It fit perfectly and everyone cried. Sadly, Grandma recently passed away, which hit us all hard. My sister was devastated, but decided that the dress meant Grandma would still be there with us at the wedding. The issue comes in with C. She's very large, much larger than my sister. 3 days ago, we decided to go visit my sister and see how she was doing. It was great, but then C asked if she could try on the dress. Sister politely said no. C made a face, but dropped it. Later, we decided to go grab dinner. My sister and I went to pick up our orders, but C decided to stay and play with sister's dog. We got back and the dress was destroyed. C had apparently tried to get it on, popped some seams and got stuck. Instead of waiting for help, she cut her way out. The dress was hacked to bits. My sister was devastated and asked us to leave. I grounded C and called my aunt with some pictures asking if it could be saved. She said there was no way. She said she'd make a new one, but it wasn't the same. Then she dropped the bomb on me. Grandma had hand-sewed most of the dress, used super expensive fabric, and put almost 500 hours in making that dress, since it was the only family wedding we'd have. In total, the dress cost $12,000, give or take. C has about $15,000 saved from various jobs, as well as winning writing competitions. This was supposed to help her in college. I took her to the bank and set in motion transferring all the funds since, as her parent, I still have control over it. $12,000 go to my aunt to pay for the new dress, and $3,000 go to my sister's wedding as an emotional distress tax. I explained exactly why this was happening to C, but she sobbed the entire time, asking what was she supposed to do for college and saying it wasn't her fault. I told her she could get a job if she didn't get a scholarship, and it was her fault for trying on the dress after she'd been told no, and for not waiting until we got back. A few popped seams could have been fixed, hacking the dress to pieces couldn't. C told my ex, and while she agreed C was in the wrong after the full story, said I shouldn't have ruined her future for a free dress. I reminded her of our rule, and she still thinks I'm wrong. So, am I the a-hole here? Okay, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole in this situation, but it is a difficult decision to make because it is your daughter's future. However, I absolutely agree that actions have consequences, and that is one of the most important lessons a person has to learn in their life, which basically translates to the term accountability. I personally believe that accountability for one's actions and tolerance to frustration are two of the most important things a parent can teach a child. But should this come at the expense of their future? And that's where the dilemma lies. Now the follow-up question is her future really in jeopardy? You mentioned scholarships and the fact that she could also get a job to contribute to her college fund, right? I think if I was in your shoes, I would also make my daughter pay for the dress. But the additional $3,000 for the distress tax, I don't know. That's the bit where I'm torn. So what do you guys think? Do you think OP is being an a-hole here? What is your judgment in this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Effing Bailey says, not the a-hole, absolutely not. She ruined her own future. In my mind, that dress wasn't $12,000 or even $15,000. It was priceless. It could have and should have been passed down for generations. I'm horrified your daughter did such a thing. Most kids don't go to college with savings, so she's just going to have to tough it out. I hope she looks back one day and realizes the payment she made was severely short. I am so sorry this has happened to your family. Gold Dust Girl Boss says, I'm so confused why your daughter's first response to getting stuck in the dress was to hack it up with scissors. That's a crazy response. Are we sure she didn't ruin the dress on purpose? You'd think having a great-grandmother that's such a talented seamstress, she would know cutting the dress would ruin it? And OP responds, you know, I hadn't even thought of that. I believed her at her word when she said that she tried it on and got stuck. Not the a-hole. Your daughter is old enough to know what she did was wrong. I think that you were right to give your sister the $12,000 for the dress. Your daughter can continue to work as she has time left before college, and she can also apply to scholarships, get loans, or work while in college. I disagree with you giving your sister the $3,000 from your kid's account though. I think you should give the $3,000 back to your daughter and tell your sister the $3,000 is from you. Did your daughter know the significance of the dress? I am also very close to my grandma, and if I was in your sister's shoes, it would take me a very long time to forgive your daughter. OP's edit. Since people are mentioning they don't understand the $3,000, that was to make up to my sister that C destroyed the last gift our dead grandma ever gave her. I consider that part of the price of destroying the dress, since even if my aunt remakes it, it's lost a great deal of its sentimental value. I pointed out how young we have her because I wanted to explain how a 31-year-old has a 16-year-old kid. I do not resent having her, she's the best thing I've ever done. I also brought up C's size because my sister has Crohn's disease, and she's very tiny. The dress was made for her size, and C is much larger than my sister. I love C as she is, but just holding the dress up, it was clear it wouldn't fit. Edit 2. To clarify, the money was C's have fun at college money, not her college fund. My ex and I are paying for whatever scholarships don't. When she was asking what she would do for college, she was asking what she'd do for fun and to buy things we didn't pay for. Again, the character count is very limiting, so I had to cut details out of the post. More information from OP's comments. C said she panicked and that's why she did it. She would have been punished for trying it on, but the minor rips could have been fixed. But she forced it on despite it not fitting, then cut down the front, then cut another part to get her hips free. That dress was incredibly valuable. This isn't like breaking a vase in Walmart. This was something my grandma put 500+ hours into over the course of a few months, and it's her last masterpiece. Even if only my sister could wear it, it was an incredible example of grandma's craft, and as someone else pointed out, her literal blood and sweat, her DNA was in that dress. Even if she had cut down the seam, it could have been mended by my aunt. She's amazing enough that you never would have known. But the way she cut it, there was no saving this. So the money is being used to make a new dress. Aunt is currently sorting through Grandma's notes to figure out the exact material and type of thread, as well as examining her designs and figuring out how Grandma did that. Grandma had been a seamstress for over 60 years. She was wicked talented and did some things Aunt never knew existed. Okay, so it was her fun money, not her college fund. So I'm gonna go back on my initial reservations regarding the $3,000 emotional tax that he made his daughter pay. I agree with that too now. Anyways, we've got an update from OP, so let's move on with that and see what happened next. So I got off the phone with my ex about 20 minutes ago. At some of your suggestions, I sent her the pictures and she freaked. She apparently didn't believe me when I said it had been hacked apart and believe it was just a few torn seams. She was pretty much on my side after that. She told me that she's spent the whole day badgering our daughter, asking her why she did what she did, and finally, she cracked. She said she was mad that Grandma wasn't alive to make her a dress, and that it was unfair my sister got a free, beautiful dress as a reminder when my daughter got nothing, despite the many things she was given after the funeral. She tried it on, took it off when the seams popped, and then, in anger, hacked it apart. If she couldn't have a dress from grandma, no one could. Her own words. Honestly, knowing she did it on purpose has just made things worse. The fact that she could be so cruel. That's not the daughter we tried to raise. She will be going to therapy, whether that's in person when local therapists start taking new clients again, or on one of those apps people have mentioned. We need to talk about it more. Her punishment stands as is, though we're going to see how therapy goes. As for all the seamsters who have reached out, please know I'm touched by your kindness. I really am. My aunt is going to see if she can incorporate at least some of the fabric from the old dress into the new one. Maybe at least try to save the beading, but if there's anything usable, I'll reach out. I so appreciate all of your offers. You're incredibly kind people. I have yet to talk to my sister, but I have talked to her fiance. Sister isn't doing well. The stress has caused a Crohn's flare-up, so she's struck in bed sick. Which, honestly, I'm not surprised. Crohn's is often triggered by stressful events, so I was expecting it. I told her fiance about aunt making a new dress, and she promised to take the remains over to my aunt on Monday. She's thankful for us addressing the issue, but has asked for some space from sister so she can recover and heal, and hopefully not end up in the hospital. As for the $3,000, we'll see what my sister's state is in a few days. If she has to go to the hospital, then the money is forfeit for her medical bills since it was C's selfishness that put her there, so she can pay for it. If my sister doesn't end up in the hospital, then I'll consider giving it back after she's gone to therapy for a few months. If she's accepted what she did was wrong and worked to make amends. Extended update from OP's comments. If my sister had decided to take her to court, as would be her right, my daughter would have lost a hell of a lot more since I wouldn't be paying her legal fees and would be on my sister's side. And if she didn't have the money, then I'd still make her make it up by getting a job and forcing her to pay every penny to my sister. She still has other savings, has an investment account and such. This was a light punishment for what she did, and it will continue. She destroyed a $12,000 item, which where I live is a crime that could send her to juvie. Her punishment hasn't stopped there. She's also grounded, something her mother agreed with, for the next 6 months. This means parental controls on the computer, no friends, no takeout, no car, no phone, no video games, no TV, nothing. She's also lost the right to be alone, since she clearly destroys things when left to her own devices. So she has to be in the living room unless she's sleeping at night. I'm also not getting her the dog I promised. She lost my trust for destroying the last gift my dead grandma left the family after she was told she couldn't put it on. Her mother agreed to the other punishments and even suggested it. The 6-month punishment and everything involved will be enforced at both houses. I had to talk my ex out of taking her door down since I think she should at least be allowed to sleep in peace. Plus, I just don't trust her with a dog now. If she decides to cut me out of her life because she messed up, then so be it. And that is all we know from this story. She did it on purpose. That's just nuts. This girl clearly has some issues that she needs to work through therapy. So hopefully it'll work out and she will get the perspective that what she did was horrible. Purposefully destroying that dress because if she didn't have one then no one could? Yeah, that's too much. So what do you guys think of the outcome and the extended punishment that OP shared with us just now? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And now, we're gonna move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user DodoHead974. You're on a performance notice, no raise or bonuses, no work from home, no overtime, and no learning responsibilities. And then COVID happens. This is the story about a co-worker we will call Joe. And from day one, it was obvious that Joe was one of the hardest working people on the team, and Samantha, our manager, could not stand him. This takes place a few years into Joe's tenure with the team, and for whatever reason or another, Samantha decides to put Joe on a performance notice, which is basically an HR notice that you have 6 months to get your crap together or you're fired. The reason on the paperwork, improper attitude. Joe was the type of guy to always speak his mind, and while management says that they love that, this brutal experience shows it's a lie. The problem with the notice is it also comes with penalties. No work from home, they literally take your laptop away. no approved overtime, and no learning new things or assignments. Oh, and no raise or bonus. You have to prove you do your job well, and then, after the 6 months, if you're not fired, the manager can extend with an additional probation period of another 6 months. January of every year is when we find out about our raises and bonuses from the previous year. And to put it delicately, that January they effed us, to the point that one person walked out and 2 older employees, 30 plus years, took packages. Then, in February, we are drowning and Joe can't work overtime and can't learn new things. Manager's orders, remember? Well, this is in the middle of Joe's probation period, as Samantha predictably extended his notice. So this is where we find ourselves, in mid-March 2020. Cue malicious compliance. During the lockdown, they sent the whole company home. Everyone is working from home except Joe. He is home, just not working. He technically can't. And about 2 weeks into the lockdown is when Samantha finally notices. She goes ballistic. "Why aren't you working? Blah blah blah," on a team email with everyone CC'd. He replies, "Oh, as you know, I am on a performance period and cannot work from home." Then she tries to get HR to fire him, to which they reply, "Samantha, you elected to continue the notice, which still has 4 months. We can't issue him a laptop until it expires." Turns out, the only way to rectify it as soon as possible was to petition formally with the head of HR that putting Joe on a performance notice was done in error and have all parties sign, including Joe. All this happens except Joe refuses to sign. He won't sign until they give him his bonus and raise, which they do. The whole thing took a month. A month of Joe basically on a free vacation. OP's edit. There have been some questions that I feel I need to add some context to. First is, the work we do, it's easy, like a stereotypical corporate job. A concerted effort of maybe 3 hours a day is enough to do your job. Most people screw around, chit-chat, and milk the day. Some people go even further and milk the work so much that they need help with their workload. We have a co-worker who would literally watch Netflix all day. Management either never figured it out or didn't care. I've had days where I've done all my work before lunch and took it easy for the rest of the day. And then I've had days where I didn't do a thing all day. Incompetent management creates gray areas. As long as the work gets done, they don't look too deep into who is doing what. And people get away with minimal work, knowing others will pick up the slack. This is where Joe found himself when the pandemic started. The company, which has never had all of its employees, or even a good amount, remote at the same time, was unprepared on how to handle the situation, and our managers were even less prepared. Joe literally just found himself being forgotten and didn't raise his hand to tell anyone. Well, first of all, good on Joe. Yeah, he couldn't do anything, so I don't know why Samantha was all pissed. It was her own doing. Thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.